Wow.
Welcome to Canadian music in the 80s and 90s and more. A. The A part makes it Canadian, I guess. Uh, and I'm proud to be joined by Adam Michael James. Adam Michael James is doing something I got really interested in called Isletunes. And well, better than me explain it. Why don't you explain it, what it is, and how you started it? And
Sure, sure.
yeah,
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Alan. It's great to be here. We both have the same poster, by the way, the Back to the Future poster. Great Scott!
great
Okay, so
Scott. Yeah.
so so Tunes. It's a podcast that plays nothing but music from Prince Edward Island artists. It's done in kind of a radio style format. It's an audio only podcast. I play music. I play new stuff. I play older vintage music. I try to play all genres. I play music from every type of island artist. I play black artists and
Mhm.
Mi'kmaq and LGBTQ and lots of francophone music, and I just try to run the gamut of what PEI has to offer, because I think that as somebody who is a definite CFA. I'm American. I only came here in 2007, but
Yeah.
the kind of thought when people hear Prince Edward Island music is, oh, it's fiddle music or it's rock bands, and we
Yeah.
do have many of those, and they're wonderful, and I play them too. But there's
Yeah.
so much more, and so
Right.
that's what the mission statement of Isletunes is, and how it got started. I used to do radio back in the day,
Hmm.
and I have been producing the Charlottetown Islander radio broadcasts over at Max 93 for a while.
Okay.
And also, we got a new manager, and I was like, hey, I talk too. I don't just push buttons at the board. And so that was kind of in the back of his head, and he suggested, hey, I have this idea about having a show that plays nothing but island music, and I think you'd be good for hosting it. And I thought, that's great. So he let me post it to the higher ups off island, and they were interested, and then they decided not to go for it. So in terms of the radio station, the whole thing got dropped. And
Right.
a friend of mine said, you should do this as a podcast. And at first I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. But I had already done so much research and development on island music that I thought, well, I should at least explore it. And
Yeah.
here we are, 25 episodes later, and I'm having a lot of fun. And the biggest thing that I'm learning is that there's so much music here. It's really almost
Right.
shocking. It's almost shocking how much of it there is. And it's great that I get a chance to explore that every week.
Well, that's the thing I really was interested in. Like, I mean, there is a lot more to island music than just Stompin' Tom and Haywire. And like, I mean,
Right.
obviously those guys are great and they put the island on the map in a way they wouldn't, this wouldn't exist without them. But it is very true that there is so much music here on the island that people just don't know about. And maybe this is a good way to get people to explore it some more.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm learning new stuff every week. I mean, a while back, I was introduced to a classical guitarist. It comes from Vietnam, moved here from Vietnam, and he's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, so I had to put his music on the show, and yeah, it's just been really cool to kind of amass all this music, and of course to get the support from the artists,
Right.
because I was advised by a music publishing company that I should ask the artist to get permission before playing it. I don't know if it would ultimately matter if I didn't do that, but
Yeah.
it's better to kind of be safe in that sense. And also it's just good to connect with the artists, and then also
Right.
it's good PR in this sense that they can post, oh, my song is on this podcast, and so it all kind of works. But it does make the process take longer, because like right now I've got 130 something artists that I have music from, and
Hmm.
there's about 400 on my list of people that I need to contact,
Right.
and people that I'm waiting to hear back from, and stuff like that. So I mean, I've never had anybody outright say no, but
Right.
I would rather wait until I hear that yes before I play stuff. And in terms of connecting it what you do, 80s, 90s, and more. I do have some 80s music and more 90s than 80s, but I think I'm still looking for it. It's just a little harder to find, I think, because, now you can just record a song on a laptop,
Right.
and stick it on SoundCloud and you're done. Whereas back then, I
Right.
mean, it was a little harder.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's a Facebook group I discovered about 80s bands on PEI,
Saw that, yeah.
which I'm sure you probably explored a little bit. And it's
A
really got
little.
some,
I've been meaning to post on there going, hey, if anybody's got recordings, I'm over here. So
yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
care if it's on cassette or, whatever. I mean, I can dump those off. And I was the cassette king, back in the day.
Sure. But it's also, I like the way that you are contacting the artist to kind of get permission, I guess, or let them know what you're doing, because maybe maybe they want to know what you're doing, and maybe it establishes a relationship with you to, you know, they'll come to you,
Yeah,
that kind of
I think
thing.
it works. I think it works on all levels, but also so you don't get yourself in trouble either, because
Yeah,
the kind of rules for playing
right.
music on podcasts is kind of loosey goosey. It's
Yeah.
well, but I did have to, like, register with SOCAN, and I have to
Okay.
report to them, how much SOCAN content I play within each episode, and then add all that
Right.
up, and then whatever money that I get from
Hmm.
the podcast through sponsorship or other funding, then I have to do like a percentage of a percentage and send that off to SOCAN. So at least doing I'm trying to do stuff the right way.
That's the way to do it, right? You don't want to get off on the wrong foot, I guess, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you don't want to get a reputation either as, oh, this guy just runs roughshod and does whatever he wants. It's like, this is other people's babies. This is an expression. It's not just a physical or digital recording. It's their muse, it's their
Right.
artist. It's not my place to just go, oh well, I'm just gonna do this. So I want to talk to them first.
I know, I heard you on the CBC,
Oh, cool.
CBC radio, and I know
Nice.
they do a lot to help island artists out as well. They play quite a vast variety, but I mean, obviously their whole um programming day is not filled with island artists. They have
No,
national stuff they have to do, but I know they do a lot to promote island artists on Main Street and Island Morning and stuff like
they
that.
certainly
So
do. Yeah.
obviously they can't play everything, but you look like you're really going to cover the gambit with what you do.
That's the idea. I want as wide a variety as possible. I would like people to not only discover new favorites, but
Right.
rediscover song. Oh my God, I haven't heard that song in forever. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
really kind of brings the gratification for me at doing this is knowing that people might go, oh wow, I totally forgot about this group. I love this group when I was in high school, or my
Yeah,
parents listened to this constantly, that kind of thing. So, and it's just again, just getting the different variety of artists too, because especially now, because our population here is diversifying more
oh yeah,
in the
yeah,
last decade or so, and so ergo there's going to be that much more different kinds of music to play.
for sure. The other thing was, I think it's also educating islanders that there is a lot more here than they know of.
Exactly.
Like you said, the genres is quite, there's a wide variety of genres to listen to, like we said, it's not just fiddle music and maritime stuff, but the thing I've been kind of cover with what I've been doing too is, um obviously people like seeing the interview or seeing something about somebody they remember from back in the day, but I like to show people that they're still doing stuff today.
Yeah.
They're not just sitting there doing nothing. Like, they're still making music today, and some of the music they make today is better than what they did. And that's maybe, I don't know if that's something you're trying to look into as well.
Oh,
Like,
sure, sure. I'm always interested in covering that journey if I can. I think too with Prince Edward Island music. I mean, it's not like stuff coming out of Motown or
yeah.
that's mainstream that we can follow an artist
Hmm.
and go, oh well, they're still recording after all these years, like Rolling Stones putting out an album last year, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. it's easy for people to forget. Oh, in 1974 there was this island group that recorded this record, and people really liked it, but maybe
Yeah.
their kids didn't hear it, and their grandkids didn't hear it, and it's been forgotten about. And that's what I like to do too, is to reintroduce it. And then, as you say, if they're still recording stuff later, I love that, because well, just recently I had Don Ross on the show.
Okay.
um I also try to interview an artist every week,
Right.
either if they have an album coming out or a performance coming up or that
Hmm.
kind of thing, promote that. And with Don, I was able. I mean, he was so generous. He gave me access to his entire discography, and it's like 23 albums worth. And
That's
so I was
amazing.
able to play a song from 1989 back to back with a song that he just put on an album last
Right.
year, and that's a 34-year difference right there. And so that's really cool in that, you know um you can kind of see the differences and the similarities, you know over that span of time. So yeah, definitely, older artists, if they're still producing music, yeah, I definitely want to have that too.
Do you find with that a lot of the island artists also collaborate a lot
Oh
too?
yeah,
Like is
so
there a lot of
interwoven.
projects they get together and do that you can
Yes,
discover as well?
absolutely. There's artists like Dennis Ellsworth, who,
Hmm.
he has solo stuff, but he had Haunted Hearts, and now he has Money Go Round, but even on live performances, he's mixing in with other artists. And then well, this bassist from this group is now, the bassist in that group whose lead singer was in that group. And, so
Right.
it's very interwoven, and you run into a lot of the same names. I mean, in a good way, because it's always interesting to see how different the sound is when people are collaborating with different people. And also in terms of, what I do, amassing music for the Isletunes library, is that, well, now, you're in three bands, so now I can get music from three bands out of one
Yeah.
instead of having to chase down all these people. So there's that too. Yeah, it's definitely interwoven.
Yeah, for sure. Like I mean, I guess the first more up-to-date island artist that I really got into before I moved here was Catherine McClellan.
Mm.
And I just find her one of the most talented singer-songwriters in Canada, not just from PEI, but and she obviously collaborates with a lot of other island artists as well and
Yeah,
does a
she
lot of shows
is.
with them.
Most certainly does. She's on my list. I reached out to her a few months ago, but people are busy, or maybe my emails are ending up in their junk folders, or that kind of
Right.
thing. So Catherine, if you're listening,
Yeah, for sure.
I want
I
to play
think
your stuff. I want to play your dad's stuff. I want to,
yeah,
all.
her dad's stuff. I mean, she does I think she's got 2 albums out of her dad's material that
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
and she does an incredible take on them too. But it seems every time I go see a live show here in Charlottetown or somewhere on the island, somebody does a Gene McClellan cover. I didn't realize like how well thought of he was here on
Yeah.
PEI. Like I know he was from here, but it's just amazing how, I was talking about my friend Billy McInnes earlier, who's a fiddler from PEI. Every time I see him, somebody winds up doing a Gene McClellan cover. And it's just you realize how big of a career he had in songwriting.
Yeah, well, I certainly did. And I mean, as somebody from away, but then also because this was back in the 70s mostly. And, I mean, I certainly am only now just learning about Prince Edward
Yeah,
Island music, from that far back. Like, I didn't realize he wrote Snowbird,
yeah,
and was it last week? Yeah, I was doing kind of a winter theme, and so I was trying to pick the songs that I had in my library that have kind of snow or winter or something in the title, and Al Tuck had done a cover of it, like
yeah,
back in, I don't forget what year now, but but he was married to Catherine, and Catherine had obviously his father was Gene, so it's like, oh
yeah.
wow, like it's really kind of this pedigree that a lot of music here has too.
And what about do you like to cover like venues around the island too? Like obviously the Trailside's a big venue and the Confed Center, but um do you like to cover like what kind of stuff you can see around all over the island?
I try to. I mean, not the necessarily because of a venue, but I do collect lists of who's playing where on what dates,
Right.
and at toward the end of the show, I have kind of gig announcements where I let
Oh,
people
cool.
know that they can see this artist, on this date and this time, and next week, you might want to look out for these people, and so there's always a list of artists, especially during the summer. I mean, there's so many in
Oh
the
yeah.
summer. I can't list them all because I'd be there all day, and I do try to keep the podcast to an hour. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really important to me to not only expose people to different music, but also to
Yeah.
those live performances, because that's still a really important way for artists to connect with the audience. I mean, even though now we have Zoom like we're on, or
Right.
posting stuff online, but there's still something about a live performance, and so I like people to be able to know, oh, okay, well, I better get tickets for that.
Yeah, for sure. Um, where do you hope to take this in the future? Like, is
Oh,
it something to be on a regular, like another radio station,
I
or
don't
maybe get
know.
picked up from something? Is that what you're hoping to get?
I'm not closed to any of those possibilities. I mean, at
Right.
this point, it's I'm almost 6 months in.
Hmm.
In a way, it's still finding its footing.
Right.
I'm one person, and there's only so many hours in a day, and I only have so much energy, a little less than I used to.
Right.
And so I do what I can, but I always feel like there's more, that I could or should be doing. So I think it is definitely finding an audience. I would like to find more of an audience, and
Right.
get it to a point where I can approach sponsors, and start, having some income coming in, which will help pay for, all the stuff associated with producing podcasts, but
Sure.
also to the point where, I can take a bit of a salary from it. So there's that too. Further than that, if it were to get picked up, by a radio station, or some kind of, I don't know, I don't know how it works with podcasts, if they're syndicated,
Right.
or that kind of thing, but I'm not close to it. I guess it would just depend on, you know, um, how would that affect my creative control?
Right.
Um, because once you start bringing in other entities, then they want to shape it, and do
Put
maybe
their
what they want to
stamp
do.
on
And
it or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe that might not be the way I want to go with it. Or am I going to be like doing this much work for that much benefit? So I think there would be that. But for the moment, it's me, and I'd like to get it out to more people, definitely. Um, and yeah, I wouldn't mind being able to take a salary from it too.
That's
Make it,
that
I'm working full time. I might as well make a full time income from it.
for sure. Why not? But I mean, this is something that I'm interested in because I'm actually just kind of recently finding there are. Well, I've heard the talk about how very business-like radio is these days. Like
Mm,
they're all owned by big corporations, and
yeah,
pretty
it's
much every station is owned by companies like, say, Stingray or
yeah,
stuff
maritime
like.
broadcasting. Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm finding there are some people still doing shows that, like I told you off air, I did an interview with a radio station out of Kingston that plays every Sunday. They're 3 hours of really old country music,
nice.
traditional country music, like, and it's not like the hoedown that we have here in PEI, but it's similar to it. But he goes regional with some of the stuff. Like he's out near Ottawa, so he plays a lot of local Ottawa artists,
Oh wow, that's
which
amazing.
is, yeah, that's what I find amazing too. He goes into Quebec and does like Quebec artists, bluegrass artists from Canada. But he really has the freedom to do what he wants, and it's picked up by a station in Kingston.
That's pretty amazing.
And he's working out of Cornwall. So I'm hearing a lot of stuff like that. Like it's almost like, I don't know if you were ever in Toronto, but CIUT, like a university station, might have done more things like that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, again, I'm not from here,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, of course, especially universities in Toronto would have stations. Yeah, I mean, they had one here too, right?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I haven't really explored
I
that.
feel like they did, but yeah, I don't remember for sure, but I have a feeling they might have. But yeah, I'm open to possibilities. I'm just sort of taking it day by day for the moment.
You're kind of like in the same situation I'm in, kind of.
right? Well, I think again, just getting it out there more. Some of which involves spending money, some of which does not involve spending money. Like I just
Yeah,
finally this weekend got the podcast on YouTube, which I probably should have done from the beginning.
yeah.
But, you know, you live and you learn. And there's a podcast distribution service called RSS. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, I haven't.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, I upload what I do from there, and then from there it goes on to Spotify and Amazon and you know all
Okay.
that stuff. But there's also an option where you can have it go to YouTube, and I hadn't done that. I thought, oh, I'll get to it, and
Yeah.
finally, you know, with episode 25, I thought, well, that's a milestone. So let's do that. So plug. It is on YouTube now,
Yeah.
and you know they're all there, you know, and people can get caught up, skip around, doesn't matter to me.
Awesome. I'm really happy to well, I guess help you in a way.
Learn
To
each
do
other, I think, is important.
yeah, I mean that's the way you should do it. I mean, I got an interview with a very famous YouTube content guy from Toronto actually, but he does a lot of stuff in the States. He did my show and my YouTube channel, and he gave me a lot of advice. He just said, keep doing it. Don't stop.
Sounds like good advice to me.
And yeah.
And we do have to stick together. I mean, people who have the same Back to the Future poster have to have to stick together.
Well, actually, it's kind of funny because my dream is to get Back to the Future 2 and
Mm.
3 right next to those, all in the same frame, and
Oh, that would be cool.
having the space to put all three of them up there. But then I'd be probably be buying every movie poster I wanted.
And
So,
those would be a little harder to find now too. I mean, mine, I don't know where you got yours, but I got mine out of a video rental store like in 1986.
oh, that's
So
amazing. I'm sure they're just producing them now. They're probably printing them now.
yeah, I think because the fan base is so huge, but
But yeah, it's amazing what pop culture things are worth nowadays. It's amazing what you can buy.
it's true.
Um, yeah. Anyway, I can't thank you enough for joining me and letting me know more about Isletunes. Consider yourself, if you ever want to do a regular spot with me, that'd be fine with me if you want to update people on stuff and
Sure, that'd be great. I really
what you're
appreciate
doing.
that.
Yeah. So but yeah, I think it'd be really great to kind of work together and kind of achieve a goal, I guess,
Sure.
if you will. But
We gotta let people know about Prince Edward Island music.
absolutely,
And of
especially
course, you're doing Canadian on a broader level, but still, you know, same thing, same
last time
idea.
I checked, PEI was part of Canada.
It is.
It is.
I forget sometimes,
It
but
does
yes,
get
yes, it
forgotten
is.
sometimes, but it is still a part of Canada. So
Absolutely.
I remember you were asking me before doing this whether you fit in, and I'm like, sure you do. Of course you do. But I put the more part in so I can expand what I can do.
Very cool. I would like to have more 80s and 90s music for sure, because right now it's about that much. And I would like more and
For
more. I'm
sure.
greedy. I want more.
Oh, it's great. There's a lot out there probably that we don't even know about yet.
Bring it
So
to me. Cassettes, records, reel to reel tape. I don't care. I'll find a way to dub it off.
that's awesome. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alan. I really appreciate being here. It means a lot.
Take care. Bye.